Okay, children, sit. Grab a marker quietly if you haven't already. Weston, take off your hat. Shucks. Okay, so A block today we're going to compare an absolute advantage, and then B block today we're going to be doing some multiplier practice, so all math, and not just multiplier practice, but like CPI and things like that. After school today, we're doing fiscal and monetary policy with a little bit of bank balance sheet. That will be after school today for a long time. There is no excuse of like, well, I have something first and then I got to do something else. I'm not recording that. Yeah. Okay. My son has a baseball game at 5:30 and I'm not going home first. So I will basically be here until 5. So, really? Really? Okay, so let's do comparative and absolute advantage first. No, yes, school. Sorry. Okay, I will give that to him though. Faith, you're going in the hall. Okay. And Kennedy already has your test. Okay. Okay, so let's start off with comparative and absolute advantage.
Do that.
Okay, so comparative and absolute advantage. So absolute advantage is just being able to produce more, or maybe produce it with fewer inputs, but like you don't have to do any math to figure out absolute advantage. And Faith, if y'all can close the door on your way out, that way the hallway won't be loud. Okay. Okay. Well, comparative advantage is who can produce it for the lowest opportunity cost. So that's when you do the math and whatever. So let's do an example between, I don't know, USA and Canada. And let's say that between the two countries, we're making planes and cars. Okay, planes and cars. So first we're going to talk about like the difference between input and output, because knowing that tells you like how to do the math for everything else. So let's just say that this is how much they're producing. They are producing, like USA can make 10 planes or 8 cars, while Canada can only produce 8 planes and 4 cars. So first we're going to figure out absolute advantage for planes and cars, and then comparative advantage for planes and cars. So if I am talking about this is how much they're making, this is how much they are producing, this is how much they make at the end of the day, then Sophia, is this an input or output problem? Output. It's an output problem. So that matters for both absolute and comparative advantage. Not just to do the math for comparative, but for both. Because for absolute advantage for like planes and absolute advantage for cars, we're looking for like who can produce the most. So Alexa, who can produce, let's go with absolute advantage of planes. Why? If it said explain, what would your explanation be? Because they make more. Because they can make more than Canada. The answer was, if you hear that, or the people that are listening to this, yeah, it's USA, because they can make 10 planes, while Canada can only make 8. When it comes to cars, though, Garrett, who has an absolute advantage? USA again. Because they can make twice as many cars in the United States than in Canada. But for comparative advantage, that's when we're doing the fraction. So we need comparative advantage for planes, comparative advantage for cars. Okay. So, Nina, do you remember how to do the math for if it's an output problem? The other comes over. So I'm going to switch colors real quick just so you can see the difference. The other number comes over. So we're going to do this for USA and Canada, planes and cars. So for USA, we're just looking at USA numbers. If the other comes over, 8 over 10. The other comes over, 10 over 8. For Canada, same thing. The other comes over, 4 over 8. And then 8 over 4. So then you just simplify. This is 4/5. This is whole 5/4. This is 2. And this is half. Whether it's an input or output problem, for comparative advantage, you're always looking for the smallest number, because those numbers represent opportunity costs. And for comparative advantage, it's whoever has the lowest, so the smallest, opportunity cost. Because what this means is when USA was to make planes, they give up the opportunity to make 4/5 of a car. when Canada makes planes, one plane specifically, when they make one plane, they give up the opportunity to make half of a car. So it's like, who's giving up the least amount of cars to make planes? So those fractions are in units of opportunity cost. They're in units of the other thing. So one plane, 4/5 of a car, one plane, half of a car. Max, what's the smallest number? 1/2.
Oh, she will get it.
Oh, let's say you're helping your friend Max. Okay, and so Canada looks like they have a comparative advantage in plane production because they're giving up less cars to make planes than USA. So we're playing in Canada. And for cars, well, if USA looks to make one car, they're giving up the opportunity to make 4/5 of a plane. 5/4, sorry, I can't breathe. They're giving up the opportunity to make 5/4 of a plane to make one car. And if Canada was to make one car, they're giving up 2 full planes to make that one car. And so USA is giving up less planes per car, which is why they have a comparative advantage in cars. Okay, so if you, hello.
This one is the one that you have to, what was your thing?
Okay, that's only true, doing this, that is only true if we have planes and cars up here and not USA and Canada up here.
God.
So I have seen that where they flip it, they put cars and planes on like the left side, and then above here they put USA and Mexico, or whatever, USA and Canada. But I would redraw it. I would put it in the table that you are most familiar with. So you do this. You're comparing numbers.
What are you talking about? Please keep saying something. You have to explain what
Okay,
you're talking
okay.
about.
The reason that she's talking about this is because some people were comparing these two numbers, 4/5 to 5/4.
Okay.
And so they were looking like this to compare numbers, which your head is telling you you're doing it incorrectly. But if you're looking at the column,
I thought you guys code for it.
if you're looking at the column, then you are doing it correct.
So countries have to be
Yes, I
on the left.
No, there's first semester, but it might have been in like tutoring or something, I don't know.
Green class, you would say.
Yeah, I try to say the same thing every class here, so it's okay. So you know what?
They said yes.
Okay, okay, just because you can't do this with input problems, I want to switch to input problems in just a second, but we have to talk about trade agreements, because if it's an output problem, there will be trade agreements. It has been every single time there's been an FRQ about comparative absolute advantage, they should give up a trade agreement. So let me come up with one. Got it? I got it. Okay, yes?
Okay, so input.
I'm about to do input problem. Yes. I just want to do trade agreement with this first, because you can't have a trade agreement with an input problem. So if you did an entire FRQ thinking it was input, and the last question is all like, one plane for one car, you did everything above wrong. So just go back and fix it. Yeah, so like you can't have a trade agreement with inputs, because you can't change, I'll give you a 4/5 of an hour if you give me a 5/4 of an hour. You can't trade time, but you can trade goods. Okay, what do you want?
I was just gonna say, well, I was gonna ask if you can answer like those. The reason you can't do it with input is because it's trade time.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just say that the trade agreement that was given is one plane will be exchanged for one car. So my question is this going to be good for USA? And is this going to be good, so that's the question, USA or Canada? Will they like it? Okay. Do you want me to give you time to figure it out? Yes. Most people are saying yes. So I'm going to give you some time. If you can just look at it and you can see if you can figure it out. Will USA like this trade agreement? Will Canada like this trade agreement? Two separate questions. Just because one likes it doesn't mean they both like it. And just because one likes it doesn't mean the other one's going to hate it. It could be both good, both bad, one for one bad. If I make cars, I don't want cars, I want planes. If I'm making planes, I don't care about the price of a plane. I make planes, I care about how much is the car going to cost. That's my it. Okay, well, I'm gonna give you like 1 minute. Absolute advantage? Claim? I'm not gonna look at everyone in a second. Oh,
I'm so confused.
okay, let's look at it. Ready? That'll give you enough. That gives us enough time to like serve all feelings of anxiety.
Can we start with Canada?
Okay,
Miss Taylor? Can we start with Canada?
I'm gonna start with.
Canada's.
I'm gonna do no. I'm just gonna do it in order. Okay. Okay. One car to one plane is a trade agreement, which is the same thing as one car to one plane. Okay. Yeah, but sometimes they're not going to be easy. It's not going to be one to one. I'm not going to give you another trade agreement, but I'll just show you if it was like one plane is like a third of a car, then that means one car is 3 planes. It's just a reciprocal.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how to figure that out. Okay, so they might not give you a 1-to-1 chance, but they probably won't. But I just been trying to make it easy, just so we were fresh, whatever. Okay, so one plane with one car. Let's look at USA. USA is making cars. I don't care about the cost of a car. That's what I'm making. I'm in the United States. That's what I'm making. I need to import planes because that's what I have a comparative disadvantage in. So I need to know how much one plane is going to cost. If I made a plane by myself, I'd have to give up 4/5 of a car. So by themselves, without trade, in the United States, one plane costs 4/5 of a car. Now this trade agreement says one plane costs one car. Are they going to be happy or not happy with this trade agreement? Not happy. This trade agreement is making them give up a full car, and by themselves they could have only they only have to get 4/5 of a car. So be a question.
Okay, but it's over one plane.
One plane costs 4/5 of a car by themselves. Now one plane costs one car. You're comparing like this trade agreement with the numbers you did not circle.
So one car equals a little over a plane, like more than like 5 or 6 planes.
What are you talking about?
Yes, but you don't need that for this trade agreement.
Yeah, I was just yes, but they don't care about the price of a car.
Because I was thinking it like 5/4 of a plane is 4/5.
Oh
Yeah, no.
no. You are not looking at these two numbers.
Yeah.
You are looking at this compared to this.
Okay.
And therefore, with Canada, you're looking at not these two numbers, but this compared to that. So like Canada, one car, and that's what they care about, like cars, because they're making planes. I don't need to buy a plane. I have planes. I'm going to have to import cars at this trade agreement. And one car, I had to give up 2 planes.
So they went.
Now one car, I had to give up 1 plane. That's a whole lot less. That's one less plane that I give up. They would like this trade agreement because they are giving up less planes to make cars with that trade agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can I do one more trade agreement? Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna change the trade agreement. Okay? Same problem. Same problem. We're gonna do one as an input, but if you want to like practice trade agreements, here's your new trade agreement.
Wait, you just said input.
No, I'm saying that this is still output because we still did other comes over. I'm just taking away our old trade agreement and getting you a new one and seeing if you like it. Brian, question?
There may be questions where it asks us to come up with a fair trade agreement.
No. Where you come up with one? No. Because there's so many right answers that it would be impossible to make a really good rubric to grade easily. So typically they'll give you one, they'll be like, yes or no, and they're just looking for yes and no's. Yes. It's to help them out. Okay, so the trade agreement now is, I'm gonna make it complicated.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it complicated. Okay, so 2 planes equals 3 cars. I don't want 2s and 3s. I want you to put it in ones. 1 car and 1 plane. Okay? So once again, this is good for USA. This is good for Canada. You have to put that in units of 1. Oh, is it? Matt, stop giggling. Turn around. Be quiet. Okay. I don't know how to.
Pero which fractions?
Yes, that's right.
Ustedes con los planes, tengo que ver que le
Same way. What? So Nate, you don't have to like curl up in a ball and ask me a question. Just repeat yourself.
Should I keep this in fractions or decimals?
I am better with fractions than decimals. I'm not very good at converting fractions into decimals. I don't know how to do that in my head. But if you know how to do that, and it makes it easier for you, you do that. It's just, I think that's just one more step that you could easily get math wrong. But we what? Nothing. Just nothing. Okay. Here I go. Okay. Okay. All right, I don't like 2 planes equals 3 cars. I don't like that at all. I want to know how much 1 plane is going to cost me and 1 car. How I convert planes into 1 is how do you make a 2 into a 1? Divided by 2. Make sure you have to do both sides. So now 1 plane is equal to 3 halves of a car. And once again, I need to know what's 1 car. 1 car
Is
is
2/3
the reciprocal. It's 2/3 of a plane.
Yes.
Okay, now using those numbers and going back to my original information. If the United States, they're making cars, they don't care how much a car costs, they want to know how much a plane costs, by themselves, 1 plane is going to cost them 4/5 of a car. Now 1 plane is going to cost them 2/3 of a, or 3 halves of a, 1 plane is going to cost them 3 halves of a car. Well, that's more than 1. You're asking me to give up more than 1 car, when before it only cost me 4/5 of a car. So the United States would say no to this. Let's look at Canada. Canada is making planes. They're not making cars, so they need to import cars. If they wanted to make it by themselves, 1 car cost them 2 planes. Now 1 car is going to cost them 2/3. 2/3 is less than full 2 planes. And so they would like this trade agreement because they're giving up less planes to make cars with that trade agreement.
We have to look at the same unit.
Yes?
But look at it backwards.
No, don't do that. Yeah, if you were in the habit, in like the previous questions, when you're figuring out comparative advantage and absolute advantage, and y'all don't, like, it's always people that mess up are the ones that don't circle comparative advantage. They have these things uncircled, and now they look at this information and they stare at the table, and they just hope that what they're supposed to be looking for them jumps out. Like, look at me, here's what you're, no, but like circle your answers for comparative advantage and then ignore them for trade agreement. Look at the other ones. All those that you want to put a box around where they have a comparative disadvantage in. Then look at your boxes. Right, Colton?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do an input problem.
How about legs?
Yes. So there's Wesley
And Alexa.
and Colton.
You know what, we're going to yeah.
FRQs,
Ooh, that's
multiple choice. Okay. Okay. Wesley, he needs about 30 minutes to do an FRQ.
yeah, sounds right.
And about 50 minutes to do multiple choice.
Know everybody.
Colton, he only needs 20 minutes to do an FRQ, same FRQ. And about 40 minutes
You're so
to do
smart,
multiple
Cole.
choice. Okay, so absolute advantage for FRQs. Let's say that's a partner test. Absolute advantage for multiple choice. Comparative advantage for FRQs. And comparative advantage for multiple choice. I'm going to give you some time to do it. Remember, if this is an input problem, it becomes the numerator. It becomes the numerator. As you guys are working on this, I'm going to go warm up my food. And then we're going to switch to the multipliers for people.
Yeah.
It becomes the numerator. Whatever your pen is on.
Wait, but less time was better, right?
For absolute advantage, you're right. Don't I want someone to do their stuff faster? Wait, what? For comparative advantage, I always want the smallest fraction. But for absolute advantage, what number is better? Well, it just makes more sense. If it's an output, I want more output. If it's resources like minutes and time and factories required, and if it's resources, then I want you can do it with computers resources. So for absolute advantage, it looks like Colton is better. Okay, I'm gonna warm up my food. I'll be right back.
You gotta get serious. That's why which one is.
Input.
Output is other.
Over.
So like whatever's in that box, that
But then you're looking for.
She said that, but like that's the opposite.
Yeah, well,
Absolute advantage. Like the smallest. Comparative larger. You want you only know.
Yeah, I'm looking at the wrong numbers. I know there's five. I'm just not the right spot.
I'm looking
Yo quiero más que ser más porque el semestre saqué como 50. Pasar el poquito, I would be okay with the 9 weeks. Pero más de un, o sea, más de un 94 o 84, no se va a pasar el segundo semestre. No hay más de para subir, güey. Si no pensás, aún va bien, es bueno meter lo que sea para que
Okay, and we're back.
we are back.
Hey, Miss Taylor, I figured it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some. Can I have some? I'll give you my hat.
Okay, children. Okay, so after the finish, I want to see who can do it the fastest, with least resources. It looks like Colton's better than Wes.
Shocked.
Okay, but for input problems, it becomes the numerator. 30 becomes the numerator over 50, that's 3/5. 50 over 30, that's 5/5. It becomes the numerator, 20 over 40, that's half. 40 over 20, that's 2. Still, even if it's an input problem, it is the lowest opportunity cost. Who's giving up the least? So Wes is giving up 3/5 of a minute versus a half of a minute. 3/2 is more. I want Colton, who is giving up the least amount of time, to do FRQs. So if this was a partner test, Colton should do the FRQs, and Wes, well, we're looking at 5/3 versus 2. 5/3 is less. So Wes should do multiple choice,
So, Miss Taylor,
and Colton should do the FRQ.
if we were taking a partner test,
Yeah.
I should do multiple choice, and you should specialize in FRQ.
No,
Wait,
Hey, yeah, okay, you may be able to do it faster, but you got a higher score.
you just said, wait, go back. You just said that Colton is FRQ.
Colton should do the FRQ.
Wow.
Because he's half is less than 3.
Oh, yeah, I'm just, okay.
Okay, let's do some multiply practice.
Yes.
I still don't know how to do that.
Wait, can we do money multipliers?
We're gonna hit all of them.
Okay.
Okay, first one. Average spending went up by 200 billion, and we estimate it's going to. What's the shape for real GDP? It's going to be about a minute.
I'm gonna make you so proud.
Your head. Okay. Did anyone like log into the Khan Academy link that I gave you?
Was that
Yes, I was. Maybe I didn't give you a link. Maybe I just said Khan. No, I didn't give you a link.
I said 3 things and it didn't say what they were, it just said it's going. I was like,
Not
okay.
today.
Oh, so
On
you have to
Friday.
close right away. I'll go check.
And you want to take something like percent as well?
Yes, because like we have half the tutorings I typically have, and y'all are gonna need to make up slack why like going to Khan Academy. Khan Academy is free. It has multiple choice question practices, it has FRQ practices, it has explanations and everything. And at the very bottom of the very of the page that I gave you, it says something about like okay. All right, so this link, if you want like, what do I need help with? Right, scroll down all the way to the bottom. Start the course challenge. And it gives you like a mix, I think it's like 30 questions, multiple choice questions over all the topics. And then it's like, this is what you need to study on, this is what you're good with, whatever. So I strongly recommend it. It's really, really good. So like you guys had to do Google Forms this year, or with like questions or whatever. Next year they're gonna have to do questions on this. Sorry. Okay. Max, tell me how to do this. What multiplier are you using? How do I know that's the multiplier to use? Because it says government spending. It's not government. It could be CIG or a cent. If any of the spending changes, if some sort of spending change, times AS, the spending multiplier will give us that change in real GDP. What? Tax multiplier is negative MPC over MPS. Spending multiplier is 1 over MPS. If you know the spending, you know the tax. Because whatever spending is, tax is 1 less than negative. So if I have like, oh, the spending multiplier is 100, the tax multiplier for that same information is negative 99. 1 less and negative. So here's the equation that you will be using. They will give you 2 of these, what are those? Factors? Like variables. Yeah, this solve for the other one. So in this case, I gave you spending, 200 million. I did not give you KS, but it is 1 over MPS. What is 1 over 0.2? 5, okay. So it's 200 times 5, which is what? 1 trillion. Okay, so it's going to be 1,000 billion. They won't put a trillion on the answer choices because they will put it in the same units. They don't want you to mess up because you forget which like unit you're in. A trillion is 1,000 billion, but it's big. Let's do another one.
Yes.
Okay. If real GDP went down by 900 billion, because the government raised taxes by 100 billion. What is NPC? Yes, we can figure that out.
Here's the one. Negative NPC over MPS. S, so it's on the bottom, because your shoes are always on your feet, and that's the bottom. No. No. Oh. That's no problem. And if you use the same MPS, none of this matters. It would just be what is NPC. Because that would matter.
If I roommates, I said that they would get mad. I wrote
Like you wrote in bubble letters?
Guess what MPs?
You're a regular girl at home. Okay. Here's the other equation you're going to use. Some sort of change in taxes times the tax multiplier will give you some sort of change in real GDP. Then you just plug things into what you know. I know that GDP went down by 900 billion. I know it was brought to you by a change in taxes by 100 billion. Raise taxes by 100 billion. Okay. It's positive. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So, raise the taxes times the spending multiplier, tax multiplier gives us our GDP fell by 900, which means it has to be multiplied by -9 for that to be the case. Like, divided by 100, whatever, 9, -9. So -9 equals K, where's my, where are you? What are you doing here? Go away. Go over here. What, how do you do this?
Alexa.
There we go. Okay. KT equals -9, and KT is also the same thing as negative MPC over MPS. So how do you figure that out?
You find the spending multiplier, which is 10, and then that's 1 over MPS, and then you know MPS.
When I do variables, it's hard.
That's right.
You replace what?
MPS with 1 minus MPC.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of work. I like process way better. I don't know. Oh, that's too many formulas. I wish this was the spending multiplier. I wish it was KS, which is 1 over MPS, because then I could easily solve that. Oh, wait. I know that if KT is -9, KS, the spending multiplier, is 1 more and positive. So 10. This is the same information. I'm not changing anything. MPC and MPS will be the same for either of these. So this is the tax multiplier. This is value spending. 1 over MPS. We solve for MPS, and then you can tell me what MPC is, which is 0.9.
No way.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what I just say.
Not a fan of that.
Which part? Just how to get
Whole, that whole thing was just
Okay.
one dress.
Victor, what are you doing?
Using up your marker.
Okay. Did you get this part?
I got to the -9.
Okay. And that's equal to KT, which is the that formula?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you know the relationship between KT and KS?
I don't remember.
KT is always 1 less than negative, which means KS is always 1 more positive. Okay. So if I know that like KS a lot of the time is 4, if MPC is like 1%, but then K, I know that KT is the same MPC and MPS -3, so it's 1 more for negative. This is the always relationship. That's why KS, the spending multiplier, always feels a greater effect than the tax multiplier because it's always 1 more multiplied.
I don't know.
Okay, so this is complicated. I don't understand this. I guess you can do what McKay did about like
Yeah, my way's less than
1 minus.
1 minus MPC, and then once again solve for MPC. I just think that's way too many MPCs. But whatever, it's fine. But I know that like if this is the spending multiplier, then this is the yeah, and realize that it's multiple choice and plug some answers in. I mean, like that makes sense. Well, I would just solve for MPC or MPS with those equations, and then, but then what you get here, you can just plug in, look at all your answer choices, and then plug in. What would this have to be? MPS would have to be 0.1. That's 10, and that's 10. Which means if MPS is 0.1, I'm asking for MPC is 0.9. together should be one. So if you what's that?
That little point one confused me. No.
So do you know how many tenths are in one?
Good.
Yeah.
She said hands, I was like, yeah.
But you know that, right? That's why they're called the tenths, because there's 10 of them. Okay.
That's a great story, Larry.
But where did the one?
This is an equation.
Yeah. No.
I said like limits have to be, like I solved for MTS.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then NPC. What did we put for that? Like, are we gonna plug it in?
Well, if I know MPS, I know MPC, because them added together equals 1. So if MPS is 0.1, MPC would have to be 0.9, because 0.9 plus 0.1 is 1.
So then 0.9 over, negative 0.9 over.
But you don't have to do that. The answer was, what is MPC? You don't have to plug MPC back in. You already solved for it.
So what is that?
0.9. Okay. Money multiplier?
Yes.
More of this. I will put 2 problems on the board. You do the one, you do both. You do both. Who are you? You do both.
Those are a combination of letters I don't want to see.
And numbers.
Is it multiplier like
Okay, S1. Last year's AP test, first AP test that actually did say show your work. And it's counted. Really?
It's so annoying.
wait, really?
First time she ever did it.
I just write it.
Showing your work counting.
Wait, in the FRQs?
Last year.
Okay. I don't know why. I don't know all of a sudden why.
Yeah.
Like every single step.
Most steps. Larry, you're not taking the test with Andre. Like in your head. Andre, you're not taking the test with Larry. You know. That's still 2 days.
You don't need any more.
Yeah, you do. Are we doing
Right. The feet.
No.
Oh, I thought I was trying to do like
What are you saying now? But I don't know. It's just.
How are we doing?
very good.
It sounds
Spring semester is great.
It's gonna start bringing my switch.
Taylor, what are you doing now? Fiscal monetary policy and make balance sheets.
I can too.
I love that. Said no one. Okay. Are you ready?
Right, I know.
First part.
Okay. Alright, here we go. I'm gonna do the monetary policy one first. It says spring deposit is $15,000 in the bank. It requires a ratio of 10%. How much can be loaned out? Well, 10% has to be kept to required reserves. The question is, what is 10% of 15,000? Drop a zero. Drop a zero. That now becomes 1,500, or you can say 1,500. That has to be kept at the bank at all times. You can loan out the rest. So you're taking out $1,500 from 15,000. And what are you left with?
13,000.
13,500, yeah, 13,500, right? That's how much can be loaned out. You can't loan all of it out. But if it said that the Federal Reserve bought and sold bonds, probably bought, because that would be stationary, bought bonds from this bank, that entire amount can be loaned out. Because, you know, that's only, RR is only a fraction of deposits. And buying and selling of bonds is not changing deposits. So you would take the entire $15,000 bond that was bought and then loan that out. So only are you taking money out if it's a deposit. And that's what required reserve ratio is, a fraction of deposits. So if you're loaning that out, that's going to go in money supply. But it's 13. Okay, 13,500 times the money multiplier. Well, money multiplier is 1 over the required reserve ratio, or 1 over, in this case, 0.1, which is 10. So it's 13,500 times 10, which means you're adding a zero and moving the decimal place over, and it becomes $135,000 change of money supply. I had a thought, and yes, that's what I thought. This goes into excess reserves. If excess reserves times the money multiplier will give us the maximum change of money supply, right?
How do you do the change in
Banking system, you take the entire deposit, 50,000 times, and then you got 60,000. Wait, whoa, this is the money multiplier gives you maximum change in money supply.
Wait, is it also money multiplier?
Yeah, that's what we said. Yeah. Yeah, 13,000 times the money multiplier, excess reserves times money multiplier gives us the max change in money supply. Banking system is the entire deposit times the money multiplier. So it would be 15,000 times 10 for 150,000. Okay, let's do fiscal policy one, which I feel I'm losing my voice. Oh, this sucks.
You better not always correlate because that was really long.
For every All right, so, yeah, my board's okay. Fiscal policy, this is a very common FRQ question. In fact, you have all been given this FRQ question in the past by yours truly. So, this is the go-to answer if you know nothing is nothing. You cancel each other out. You know nothing. How did you go? So this is, there's different multipliers in the NP 6.75. KS is 1 over point, 1 over MPS, which in this case is 125, which is 4. If I know that's KS. If I know KS, I don't even have to figure out KT formula. I know it's 1 less than negative. So KT is negative 3. So government spending goes up by 100 billion times the spending multiplier, because that's government spending. So GDP is going to go up by $400 million. GDP is going to go up by $400 million. But if you raise taxes, that's going to make GDP go back down, so that's contractionary fiscal policy. But it's going down by, well, tax multiplier is negative 3. 1 million in taxes times negative 3. GDP is going to go down by 300 million. Well, they're doing both of those at the same time. It's up by 400, down by 300. So what happens to GDP? It still goes up by $100 million, which is the exact amount they changed spending and taxes by. Because it's like, I'm going to multiply that number by 4 and then take away 3 of those. Well, then it's that amount. It's just that amount, because it's that amount times 1, which is itself. Exactly.
Oh, so since it says show your work, couldn't you just like write a sentence saying since the KS multiplier is bigger and you're getting multiplied by the same thing, GDP will go up? Or should you just write out the entire?
I would write out 100 times 4 is 400. 100 times negative 3 is negative 300. 400 minus 300 is 100. That's what I would do. Okay. Questions, comments, thoughts, ideas, or concerns? We have a couple minutes left. I'm going to use the CPI question. Oh, yes. Okay. If nominal GDP is 600 billion and CPI is 125, what's real?
Crazy lady.
It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Okay, but children, that's $1.25. Think about trying to make $6. I put $1.25 down. That's one. I put another $1.25. How much total? $2.50. That's what's kind of two.
So it's just nominal divided by CPI.
Yeah, 100. It's why it makes sense to me.
Yeah, but CPI was existing, like if it was 0.1 or 1.25.
Did I give you bad numbers? Yes. Okay, how about this? How about this?
Can we do one by one?
500. That works. That works. I get my numbers. Shane, it is, what's the equation set up? Nominal, okay, nominal over CPI 100 equals real. So it is, in this case, now 500 over $1.25 times 100 equals real. 400. 400. Yes. Okay.
I was gonna